listening to the Paracasual Destiny podcast. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to our Halloween special episode number 16 of the Paracasual Destiny podcast. I'm Sultime, and I'm joined by my friends and family, Sally Bug, Green Stego, and Romance Girl. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, one of you was a little bit tardy to the party there on the hello response, but that's okay because it was Green Stego, and he knows I can beat him up, so there's no problems there. We'll settle it
in the Crucible later.
Yeah, we'll settle it with a 1v1 later on. But anyway, what has everybody been up to in terms to or related to Destiny specifically over the past week since we last did one of these things, which was a week ago this time? Anybody want to start? Sally Bug? Are you there?
I'm here. I'm just trying to think back.
She's trying to collect her thoughts, folks.
This long week of ours that always feels like about 3 weeks. So I feel like I'm going back, like trying to figure out what I did like a month ago.
We did.
I know I got on
Pass together.
Oh, we all did
right.
that, and that was after the podcast. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, that was on Sunday. We need to do that. We need to try to figure out a time to get on and try to do that last encounter. We got through the first 3 encounters, right?
We did. Oh, we have to do that.
Taking Funny
King.
Bone. Yeah, taking Funny Bone through the raid.
That was fun. It was always good fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It's always fun to like revisit kind of that. The old stuff, especially.
I kind of wish they had room for 7 in
away.
those raids because I kind of missed Pelham, but that's all right. We'll get Pelham in on another one soon enough, I'm sure.
And now that we have that checkpoint, we can farm for the weapon.
The weapon. It's the weapon of
Anarchy.
Destiny 2.
The weapon. Anarchy. I was going to say Xenophage, and then I realized that was the Pit of Heresy weapon.
Yeah.
Which we could probably... He's done the pit now, so he could probably do that. I don't know quite what to do. Anyway.
It's not that bad.
Anyway, that I think I might have done. I've finally given up on trying to get a class item to get me to max power, because at this point, what difference does it make?
Yeah, everything's going to raise up to 1050 minimum.
Yeah, we found out about that.
Yeah, it's all systems go. And to this day, this All Hallows Eve day, this All Hallows Eve weekend. By the way, it's a full moon today. Perfect. It was a full moon at 10:49.
And Mars is visible in the sky.
And Mars is gorgeous right now.
Yeah. So it's a good weekend for a fall cleaning out your vault. That's what a lot
Yeah, we started a little bit of that last night.
Mm-hmm.
Were there tears?
A little.
I believe it. I believe it. There's some sentimental items in my vault right now that I'm going to have a hard time dismantling. Oh my God.
I was dismantling gear that was still $750.
Yeah, well, I've attempted. I went through, this was like earlier this summer, I think I talked about it, where I just deleted pretty much almost all my armor except for like some raid gear and a few other pieces. But I have not been able to pull the trigger. It was not a pun. It wasn't intended. But anyway, I have not been able to pull the trigger on getting rid of any of my weapons, even though there are some in there that are 750. I don't know. It's a tough decision, and I know that I haven't used them in a while. It's just
it's not that tough
difficult.
Of a decision because the power limit is being capped.
Yeah, and knowing that knowing that pretty much all the enemies that we encounter, at least I would assume, in strikes and stuff, everything's being pushed up to the floor of 1050, right?
Yep.
Imagine.
I think so.
Yep.
That's usually what happens.
Yeah, and we'll be getting into a little more about the leveling that's coming on its way. Did anybody do anything else? I think I might have done a couple of Haunted Forest runs. I'm chipping away at, the triumphs for Festival of the Lost. Before it goes away this Tuesday, I think I can do it. I've only got like maybe 10 more of those chests to open up to get the Sparrow. The Mummy Sparrow. I got the Mummy Ghost. Yeah, it's been hard to get on, honestly.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to do some grinding. Yeah, and it goes away on Tuesday, right? So I think that's gonna be my focus this weekend, is just getting. What did we decide the best way to get those keys? Was it public events? Because those go really quick, and you can get you can get 2. Usually 2 drop. I mean, you get 2 to drop during strikes, but strikes take 2 to 3 times longer than a public event would.
Right.
So I think I found, at least for me and for my play and whatever, and I don't like Crucible. Crucible matches are long, right? They're 5 to 10 minutes, depending.
Yeah, Nightmare Hunts might be a good one.
Nightmare Hunts, yeah.
They're a little faster than strikes.
So, yeah, I think I'm just going to have to farm for those keys, and then once I get enough, do some runs of the Haunted Forest so I can get my ghost and ship.
Green Stego and I are still working on the evacuation mission. We just finished. No, we didn't finish. We made some leeway with Brother Vance.
And we got we got all the Sabathoon's eyes on Mercury.
So, have you gotten that sidearm yet?
Nope.
No, not yet.
That's what you're working on, too?
Yeah, we still have to do the heroic adventures on Mercury, and then we'll head over to Mars.
And once I get the Osprey from Anna Bray, that will give me Wayfarer.
Nice. That'll be cool to grab one of those before it goes away. I would have loved to have gotten Blacksmith or whatever the title is, but there's too much. It's raid heavy.
They made those very grindy.
That is a hard one, and you have to do flawless
that one was
raid.
A hard one.
Flawless Scourge of the Past, which it's not going to happen. So.
Yeah, as soon as I see anything flawless as part of, I'm like, yep, that's not happening. So I'm not even going to attempt any of it.
Right. Anyway, shout out to Pelham again in the chat there. Funny Bone had some big shoes to fill, that's for sure. But I think he came through pretty strong, if you ask me. It was great to get the family together for that. And any other things like pursuits? Anybody? I mentioned to Sally Bug earlier in the week what she thought about going for some of the. Because we like to collect the lore. We're suckers for anything collectible, like the little cats and the rabbits and things like that. Rabbits aren't going away on the moon, but the some of the lore is going away. And I pitched to her the idea of going in and grabbing some of that. There's a few lore pieces in the Reckoning to get, and elsewhere. I think the Menagerie I'm missing a few in the Menagerie as well. And that's going away November 10th, so it'd be nice to at least pick up that might be a fun thing to
I have a few books that are almost complete.
Right, exactly.
That's kind of where we are. And because most of the time those lore books are things that we kind of start getting are things that we tend to do together.
Yeah.
So yeah, that could, like, once I get the Sparrow and the ship from Festival of the Lost, I would not mind.
Oh, priorities.
Working on that. Yeah, like the Mummy ship. You got to put them in your collections, right?
Yeah, I think
it's
every
nice
serious.
Plus, every now and again, you want to pull it out.
The lore probably isn't coming back. The ships might.
Yeah, I think those items will be available.
True.
Oh, you just got really loud. Hold on.
That's
all right.
True.
They are cool though. Those mummy ships.
The mummy
ship and the mummy Sparrow.
I think Take the Money is the only one, or Funny Bone is the only one who has gotten them.
Yeah.
Of all of us.
Enjoyed those.
He did enjoy those. He went ahead of us. Yeah, so there has been so much that has happened this week. Let's see. What do we get? The Vid Doc came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
The TWAB came out. The launch trailer came out, and Luke Smith did some interview thing on Twitch. That came out. So there's a lot to process, to absorb. Our go-to has been Aztec. Aztec Cross usually does a good job. Houndish does a good job. So, and then just going to the sources, the primary sources, is always good to do. But you don't always have time for that, when you're trying to manage work.
Yeah, we appreciate Aztec Cross and Houndish breaking things down for us.
They do a good job.
Yeah, sometimes getting that synopsis.
I watched Mesa Sean for the first time last night, and he had a really good take on it too. He summarizes things pretty well, and he really seems to get the sort of casual approach really well too. So I shout out to Mesa Sean as well, who does a really great job. There's those content creators, man. We do this once a week, but man, imagine doing this every day. Sallybug, it's a lot of work. That's an 80-hour work if you're doing that full time. That's an 80-hour work week. I meant to say. That's not for
it's
the
work
old.
And a passion project.
Yeah,
combined.
and it's not for the timid. It's not for the people who enjoy a lot of free time. Although, man,
you hear about it because all the content creators, like, they're very public figures, and I see it often, like the ones that I follow, like them just saying, "I'm taking a day off. I'm sorry," and like they're apologizing for taking a day away from social media.
The name of the game is just keep making content.
Yeah,
right. It's just to be constantly
sticking to a schedule
on. And I think it can be very draining and it can be harsh on your mental health as well.
Yeah,
to,
and
like,
your family life if you've got a family as well. It's tough.
Well, and to constantly be in the public eye like that, right? Because you're going to be constantly bombarded by people who just feel like they have a right to berate you for no reason.
Right, and the content creators who are comfortable or seemingly comfortable hanging out their personal lives on Twitter, to me, that's sort of ridiculous. That's like, you should.
Yeah, and some are really good about keeping that balance. Like, some of it is just.
Well, if you're a streamer, that is part of the job. You need to build an audience, and part of that
right.
is
It's an extension of the reality TV culture,
and they want to have a connection with you. You want to build a connection with it. I totally get it. So.
Right. It's just it can get toxic on a dime very quickly.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
But,
it can really ruin you.
That being said, we're very appreciative of all the ones who kind of stay on top of all the news, because
we do.
It certainly helps us absorb all the information that comes out, especially when you have a week like this week where we were very busy with work. Be able to come home and watch someone give us a good synopsis
in
of
15 minutes.
What's going on.
It's great.
We
so super appreciate it, and
Thank you.
Thank you. Big shout out to our favorites.
Thank you, content creators. We
remind me to link to them in the
much.
description when we're done with this. And
Absolutely.
let's take a look at this week at Bungie. October 29th, I believe it is, right? October 29th. We had a TWAB, so to speak. They have a link to the Vid Doc showcasing the developers doing their thing. I'm not going to play that.
But do we want to talk about it?
Yeah, we should talk about our reactions to it. I thought it was a great Viddock. I think there wasn't a whole lot that we didn't already know, but that's not surprising given the fact that they've delayed the release of Beyond Light, and so a lot of what was in the Viddock they've already sort of leaked out just to keep giving us tidbits over the last month. But it was just nice to see it all come together, and it's a great tradition. These Viddocs that they do, it's a wonderful tradition. And of course, there was.
I think the biggest information from that Viddock was talking about what the season was going to be called, the next season, and learning about the return of Crow.
Oh my gosh, that was what they. I'm
AKA.
so glad they kept that under wraps, because that's what made it for me, was that seeing that knight get disintegrated, and then the sort of the hood comes away and reveals Aldrin. Oh my gosh, who's probably not called Aldrin anymore? I don't know. They're going to call him they're just going to call him the Crow.
He's definitely going to be right. He's definitely going to be called the Crow.
He goes by the Crow.
Yeah. Oh, that was beautiful. And that for people like us who've been playing since the beta of D1, man, it's coming full circle, because I think somebody was pointing out in a thread how they're starting to pull out the original storyline that got diluted and rearranged just to get the game out. But Aldrin was originally the Crow, and I remember seeing an interview with the voice actor whose name escapes me right now, who did Aldrin, and he talked about going in and doing all this dialogue for a character called the Crow, and then they finally told him, oh, well, we're going to change your character. You're no longer the Crow. And so he didn't reveal details of the storyline of all that dialogue he did, which makes me wonder if they're making use of any of that dialogue. I'm sure they probably brought him in again to do new dialogue for Beyond Light.
I had no idea about that. I didn't know that.
So this is like revisiting, and if you think about it, we are revisiting Destiny 1 characters with an important character. The Exo Stranger is back. So,
and Varric.
And Varric. Oh my gosh.
So we really are revisiting. We're finally coming full circle and coming back to, because I remember how upset everybody was, or diehard fans of the game, when people were saying, in an older interview with Luke Smith, and people were asking about the Exo Stranger, and he's like, yeah, we're pretty much done with her storyline, and everybody was like, what? There's no way we're done with her storyline.
You may not be done.
And I don't know if that was him being cheeky and knowing that they were going to go this route.
No, I think they abandoned it at that point. At the
time they were just saying, we're not going in this direction, we're going in a different direction. And now they're saying, yeah, we need to go back to our original vision, which is awesome. And everybody is so excited about it. At least for me, I am really excited.
Yeah. And then, of course, I think this was the bigger reveal, was not in the Viddock, but the calendar for the Beyond Light release here. And also delineating what you're paying for in Beyond Light versus what's free for all players. That a lot of people were questioning that, so it was good that that information came out. And their little calendar of events here just to sort of whet our appetite. And looking forward to things up through the dawning this year in January. December and January. So, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, personally, I thought the Viddock was the perfect amount of information. And, yeah, you know, again, they did give us a lot of information that we kind of had already known from previous TWABs and so forth, but just to hear the people who were behind the scenes and seeing their passion, I love that. I love seeing the
sound. They did a little focus on how sound was getting made from home.
Oh, yeah, that was so exciting.
They gave everybody a challenge.
I loved it.
That was great. How everybody got a little challenge.
Cosmic ice.
To get the cosmic ice sound. It was really cool. The
what
breast pump.
What did they call it? It was like they do like a week of like sound searching. He called it something.
Yeah, like a scavenger hunt.
Specific.
Almost.
Yeah.
For sounds.
That was really, that was great. That was great. And to see what they all kind of came up with. So that makes me even more excited to, like, once we descend down on our Europa and just to listen to all the sounds.
Right.
And also the way the sounds are also part of that immersive changing weather.
Right.
Right. So it's like I
think it was cool to see how they were all adapting to working from home, and just a reminder that the final push for this product was made under these circumstances.
Yeah, take that, haters.
Right. Yeah, like they haven't been back in like office as a complete team really at all, right? As far as we know.
No, for like over 6 months now, basically.
Right.
Yeah. And you know, I totally understand. I sometimes wish we weren't going in every day. It's exhausting.
It really is.
I wish all the time that I wasn't going in. It's a bear. It's, you know, my students all the time are complaining about, like, how can you expect us to meet all these requirements, these safety precautions? And we're like,
right.
Honestly, it's kind of impossible for you to. I don't know why everybody's here. Nobody should be here.
It's
right.
tough. It's really tough.
Yeah, you know, we don't have really the facilities for everyone to be 6 feet apart, so it's almost like this, like, the idea behind it that we can kind of pretend that we're trying to stay.
Yeah, there's some polite fiction
most of the day.
Yeah.
I mean,
and every now and again, I mean, we find ourselves just like barking out, "Hey, keep your distance. Hey, you over there, 6 feet." And it's like they look around themselves and they're like, "There's no way I'll back up into the bookshelf try to get 6 feet away from this individual that I'm having a discussion with." But we've been really good with the face masks and the hand washing and spraying stuff down. So, knock on wood, we have not had any problems, at least in my part of the building, which is good.
All right. We had one positive case in a primary class very early on, and then we haven't had anything since. So
anyway, back to Destiny.
Doing something right.
We got the we got the launch trailer, which I'm not going to play because it's mostly visual, but we are going to feature the soundtrack to the launch trailer in our Destiny soundcheck later on.
Nice.
I did a little digging on that and found out where it came from. It's really great job there with the soundtrack, much improved. So that is a lot of stuff, and then they get into the leveling we were talking about before. So we've got the soft cap at 1200, hard cap at 1250, pinnacle cap 1260. Any takeaways from the new progression changes? What else has changed besides the raising of the caps, right? Anything else change?
Not really.
No, it seemed like pretty subtle changes, at least for this season.
Right. That's what I thought, but then when you go on YouTube and you search and you see all your favorite the people that you're subbing to, it just, everybody was saying big level up changes, big, huge. But, you know, that's to try to sell the video.
Clickbait.
I thought it was pretty subtle. I think the biggest thing here is the powerful reward changes. We've gotten a lot of feedback. We have a change coming that will allow you to have a chance to earn powerful rewards from Strikes, Gambit, Crucible, from seasonal drops, all the way up until the hard cap. So if you just want to hang out in Strikes the whole time, you can.
Well, I'll give a shout out to Paul Tassi here. He had an article, I think, this morning about this.
Okay.
And he was pointing out, wasn't this always the case with Prime Engrams?
Yeah.
Yes.
How is this?
Yes, Prime
He was a little
Engrams.
confused about how this was actually a big change and how things worked.
Well, I think it's in
well-
addition to the Prime. I think my guess was that you're still getting Prime Engrams, but now on top of that, you will be able to complete all of the powerful. You don't have to hop from one activity to the other and then go over to another character. It also honors people who are just running one character.
Right. I feel like up until the way I interpreted it, and maybe I'm wrong here, but the way I interpreted it is until you hit that soft cap,
Right.
You will be getting powerful gear.
Yup. That's what it is.
For every activity. Like, it's not like there's no cap on it and there's no waiting for a Prime Engram to drop. That, like, every time you do a strike, a piece of powerful gear will drop. But let's keep in mind that powerful gear is not the same as pinnacle gear.
Right.
It says chance to earn powerful reward from strikes. I don't think that's a guarantee.
Well, and that's why they
so
say it'll be
that's
quicker to
true.
continue to complete all the powerful reward sources each week. But if you just want to play Strikes or Crucible matches all day, every day, you can continue to earn the powerful rewards, to whereas before that was not giving you powerful drops. We hope.
Yeah, you got blue stuff for the most part, right?
Yeah, we hope this helps you continue increasing your power during the period when you are still close to the soft cap, and may find completing some of the powerful sources like the Ordeal very difficult. So they're extending a hand. I mean, it's still, to me, it's kind of subtle, honestly, when you take into account Paul Tassi's reaction as well. It is kind of a subtle change. I don't think it's a big change to leveling.
I think
that was his overall point of the article, is that these changes seem to be pretty subtle, at least for this season. They do mention some things that are coming up next season.
Right.
Yeah,
The
it's
biggest thing that I saw that
but
impacts
Go ahead.
me
Go ahead, Stego.
is like sometimes when I am working on my alt that I haven't played in a while, I will just equip, my high power weapon and then pull blue leveling gear from the collection just to level them up.
Well, they stopped, and then
they've cut that out. They've said that that's no longer a way to.
Yeah, that's the paragraph below.
Yeah.
Tokens and collections.
And you can't like go up to a vendor. You've been like hoarding a bunch of tokens. You can no longer just go up to a vendor and just power your.
I think that's a positive change. I think that's a power, but I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's a positive change. I'm in the same boat. Like it's definitely something I did, but it's not playing the game, right? Just turning in tokens at a vendor is not really
it wasn't
exactly fun. Right. So I am happy for that change myself.
Yeah, I am too. I think it's a step in the right direction. I do after this experience with Sallybug and myself, I am leaning on the side of they need to do something. They need some RNG protection in there with the Pinnacle drops, especially if you're making the effort to do those harder aspirational activities to get Pinnacle drops. They need some protection in there. It's ridiculous that you've been playing for 2 months without getting a 1060 class item.
Right, if you're fighting for it, right? If you're
Sure.
really trying to go after it,
you should get rewarded for your grind there, I think.
Right.
Or
Even
have
if
a
it's like
protection.
just one source, like the raid or the dungeon, where if you do it every week, you're going to get another gear that you haven't gotten before.
They have it in place for those
Right.
things, like where you get a different armor piece each time you run it. So maybe like every second or third time, whatever, just some kind of protection. I think I think they're hearing that feedback now. So we should see something done about that soon. I'm reading some of I got away from what's going on in chat. We did do a lot of name dropping of our favorite content creators, and we failed to mention Old King Dado. And congratulations to Dado's marriage. He just got married. So, as a matter of fact, Sallybug and I got into his registry, and we gave them a set of saucers and cups.
We did not.
No, we didn't.
Oh my god!
But we thought about it.
We thought about it.
Why about
I
such
really
a thing?
believed you.
They have the Destiny.
I'm not sure that
They have the Destiny logo on them.
I'm pretty sure they didn't even have a registry. I think it was a bit of an elopement from the way I gathered on the announcement on social media.
Well, let's make a podcast about the marriage. What happened?
Yeah. Get back on track here.
Yeah, let's talk about what's most important.
We
here.
love Dado.
But congratulations to Dado.
Yeah, we love him.
Congratulations, Dado and Danielle, which is his wife.
Yeah,
he's also a content creator, so we should give her a shout out as well.
Okay, we'll do that. Tokens and collections. Destiny is at its best.
Over this.
Oh, we did, yes.
We
it's
just
a good
went over
change.
this.
We did go over that. That's a step in the right direction. Economy changes. Oh, this is in addition to cleaning out our vaults. We may want to consider what we're going to do with all our over the next short time here. But I think I read this as you have season 12 to do this stuff. But I think it's going to change. So if you want to go down and exchange your planetary materials for items from the vendors on those planets, I think that's probably more efficient because you're going to get legendary shards.
That's not how it works. So the only way to exchange those materials besides using them to level up certain gear is to go to Spider and exchange them for something else. He's the only exchange. As far as I know.
What about the vendors?
Yeah, the vendors just take tokens.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Oh, we're talking about planetary materials, not tokens.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So
can you? I thought you could turn in planetary materials to the vendors, though.
Oh, yeah, you might be able to. Now that you say it, but I thought it's...
to level them up, or
no, they're like a smaller version of the token, right? They're
right, you
like
level them up and then you get
token.
like a token. It's almost like for each time you level them up, you get
get an
or
engram.
forever,
It's like an
however
engram.
many you turn. Obviously, none of us have done it in a very long time.
Right.
It's an old system.
My thought with what they're saying here is two things that I'm probably going to do, and that is one, anytime those planetary materials of which of the planets that are going away, Spider does an exchange for legendary shards, I will go down and just delete all of them, like just turn them all in for legendary shards. And I'm also going to do some legendary shard farming with the gunsmith because I have so many gunsmith materials.
It's a good way to get legendary shards, but
and
it's an awful lot of work.
Legendary shards are going to be pretty important with Spider coming up.
I'm good on legendary shards.
I don't know how many you have, but being that you can turn in 400 for a prism,
I have
I'm all about it.
13,000 legendary shards and over 600 enhancement cores.
Wow, you have quite.
I just don't use them. I just don't. I don't level up my gear. I'm hoping with Beyond Light I get more into gear leveling.
It's hard to pull the trigger, isn't it? Though, because it's so costly. It's hard to like make that commitment too.
I'm switching out between gear and weapons so often that I just don't get attached enough.
Right. It is hard. There are times when it's like, okay, look, I've been using this same weapon for the past, like, I don't know, the last few times I've gotten on Destiny. I think it's time to just go ahead and level this gun all the way up. So guns, I have a much easier time pulling the trigger, but it is so costly for armor that I've only done it with one set.
Yeah. But I do think you're right that that would be the best way to, if you do have extra planetary materials, turn them into shards.
Yeah, yes. Turn them into legendary shards, and like I said, getting those legendary shards. Although the gunsmith's not going away, so it's not like something I need to do right away.
Yes,
unless
it is.
They're going to change. What?
Yes, it is.
The gunsmith is going away?
Well, no, it's something you'll want to do before Beyond Light hits, right?
Well, turning into planetary materials, but not turning, like, I think I'm going to be able to turn in the gunsmith materials for a gun anytime. Because my thought behind that was...
So maybe you should wait then. Because then you'll be getting the new weapons.
Okay, we should move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
All right.
All right, there are... Okay, so faction tokens they talk about. What are faction tokens, right? Am I right? Expired ramen coupons, of which Sallybug has, right?
Oh yes, I have not.
I have. Yeah, I have all of those little trinkets that they
like
give
the
us.
toothbrush.
Let's face it, I could not pull the trigger to get rid of those, and I was a little sad that they're just going to get deleted from my.
Well, take it from the TWAB. It's time to let them go. And bounties, I think some people... I
also still have my toothbrush.
Right.
There's so many of those little things I have in my vault that I
still have all Cade's odds and ends.
Get rid of them. The bounties, a lot of people were disappointed by this. I don't know where I fall on this, other than that something Sallybug and I always talk about is the token system. Tends to be like getting money for your birthday instead of a gift, or getting money for Christmas instead of a gift. It's the sort of physical and visceral experience of opening up a present during a moment of excitement when the birthday cake candles are still smoking, when you just woke up and come down and see all the presents under the tree, versus having an envelope with cash in it that you then could use later on when the excitement's all gone. So there's nothing like something dropping from a boss you just killed, or at the end of an activity while your adrenaline's still and your endorphins are still there. So I think they're addressing that. And they're starting to come around to that reality. Back in late April, we shared some plans on how to tackle the problem of bounty fatigue. We have made some shifts to seasonal bounties and reduced their importance on earning seasonal currency and seasonal progress. We're happy with these changes. We still want to continue to improve. So I think some people just wanted this more improvement on this quicker. One of the plans we previewed is eventually replace weekly bounties with a new mechanism to provide players with a set of non-expiring and account-scoped objectives each week that will grant lots of season rank progress. We're still working on that system. We'll share more. So it's coming. It's on its way. Targeted release of Season 13. So we have to wait a little longer for
I'm
some
definitely
relief.
in favor of more. I mean, and I don't know if this is just nostalgia on my part, but, all those times where, like I remember you going in with you, and I can't remember the name of the strike, but you were farming for was it Hood of Malog?
Yeah, it was the helmet.
And just going through that, like having strike specific loot.
It was the summoning pits, I think, or one of those strikes.
And they did. No, it wasn't summoning pits.
Summoning
because
pits?
I remember the place of the. It was on the moon, actually. So it was another one on the moon. You're right, but I don't think it was summoning pits. But it might have been. I don't know. Anyway, the point is that it was fun to farm for remember we did it with Omnigul too, right? Omnigul had a
grasp
strike.
of
Yeah,
Malog.
they did, and they do have Nightfall specific loot drops.
Right, they do have Nightfall
I do
specific.
think that these bounty changes are. I don't know if they're at all related to loot drops and activities. I think it's only has to do with bounties. I agree though that I think that they could do more to have more rewarding loot in activities.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go back to the tower so much.
Right.
You can just
yeah,
get
the
out in the
bounties
world
as they
and keep
are
going.
Aren't rewarding anything except XP and currency.
Right. Well, what do you
Yeah,
think?
and
What do you think of the
instead of-
idea of, how they have transmat is a part of the paracausal. Gosh, the two words now. Part of the paracausal universe we're in allows for transmat. So, like they have a tab in your directory for the store. I mean, you can access Eververse while you're anywhere, right? How about accessing the postmaster when you're anywhere, or a vendor
Or the Cryptarch.
to without having to go
Yeah,
back.
they have. That's an official thing that they've announced is coming.
Yeah, they're working on that.
And that's
Just
what
not
I'm
yet.
looking forward to. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Right. But it's like, the Prime Engram is nice, but wouldn't you just rather have the thing drop than to go back to the Cryptarch? That's part of what we were just talking about.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I think that there's room for both, for the engrams and the specific loot drops.
Yeah, I think that exactly. I think that there is a whole discussion to be had about the reward structure of playing Destiny, because something's off about it right now.
Yeah.
And
Right.
but I don't know that is 100% being addressed in this bounties section. But yeah, they're tweaking it.
Yep, they are. What else was they talk about the season pass, and they are getting there's some generosity here mentioned in the TWAB with Bright Dust, with regards to Bright Dust. Moving towards account-specific paths to give players with only one character significantly more Bright Dust than they've been earning over the last year. And so they're rolling out a season pass free path that offers 7,500 Bright Dust. So for free players to progress, you get 7,500. If you bought the paid version of the season pass, you are getting an additional 3,000 Bright Dust in that pass. And weekly bounties will now award 100 Bright Dust. I thought they awarded more, so that might have gone down.
They do. They award 200 Bright Dust.
Okay, so they cut that down.
Someone,
but they added to the pass. They put Bright Dust in the pass.
If you are someone who religiously did weekly bounties on every character for every weekly bounty, then you are losing Bright Dust. If you're like most players and we're not religiously doing every weekly bounty every week, then you're probably gaining Bright Dust from the Bright Dust they're adding to the season pass.
To the season pass, exactly.
I think so too. I think in the long run, for most players, this is a bonus. This is a plus.
I think for me,
it'll definitely be a plus to me.
Yeah.
The other thing I like, and it's a plus for like people who are really only playing on one character. And the other thing is I like the fact that, wow, I completely forgot where I was going with this sentence. That's terrible.
Sally Bug loves Bright Dust. End of story.
No, I like the idea that the bounties aren't expiring is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I like the fact that because that was something for me that.
Well, that's coming next season.
And I know it's not. I know it's not coming right away, but I'm glad that it's part of their vision here is that not putting those expiration dates in, because that's tough, right? You know, you've lost out on your 100 or whatever the bonus is, right? As much as everything else, because you just couldn't happen to get on. And I'm glad that's changing. Thought I'd say that. Even though that's not happening right away.
Yeah.
But I know it's not happening right away, but I'm looking forward to it. And glad that they're putting some thought into that process.
The next section of the TWAB talks about changes to Spider and his wares. And
we touched upon that already.
Yeah, we did talk about it a little bit. The Legendary Shard Exchange. He's now selling Enhancement Prisms. I think, if I'm reading this right, it's an attempt to try to meet us halfway, because right now it's just so costly to upgrade armor and masterwork weapons and armor. And I think what's happening in my case, I'm just kind of sitting on a bunch of stuff. I'm always Glimmer Max because I'm not pulling the trigger because the other piece to it is because it's so expensive, you want to make sure that you're committed to the piece of armor, that stat roll, whatever, the affinity that you want, cosmetically that you want to upgrade. So, and I think they're aware of that, because I know there's changes coming to, like with transmog and stuff, to kind of eliminate those barriers to committing, to going all out and bettering your armor and breaking out the cash or the currency that's required to do that, right?
Well, and I think, and again, like from a casual perspective, casual players outside of the gunsmith really don't have a whole lot of they don't have a whole lot of options for getting those materials, right? You can get the enhancement cores from the gunsmith bounties, and you can turn in the enhancement cores for prisms from the gunsmith, but there really haven't been any options
I
out
think
there.
that was by design.
Yeah.
I think that they wanted it to be exclusive to hardcore players. They wanted something separate from casual players that just separates the elite from the casual pack.
Yeah.
Because they haven't done a lot of that, and they're still working on doing that. Yeah. And the downside of that is they have casual players like all of us who would love a full masterwork set of armor.
Right.
Even though we don't really play so hardcore and maybe don't actually need all of the perks that come with that, but we just want it for the progression.
Sure.
Right.
But they are addressing my problem, which is I've actually accumulated enough materials to masterwork stuff, right? But I don't want to pull the trigger because I'm still holding out for a 60 plus stat roll on something, or I don't like that cosmetically, you know? It's like I want a full set to masterwork of all the same armor. But see, I think
they're taking
there's barriers. There's barriers to it.
Ornaments, exactly. And then they're going to do transmog next.
Right, and
they just can't do it all at once.
One of the significant changes is I was going, whenever I logged in, one of the first things I would do is just head down to the Tangled Shore and pick up. I was buying 4 enhancement cores because I had the legendary shards for it. I've accumulated quite a bit of legendary shards, like I said before. I'm sitting on a stockpile of stuff.
That became part of your routine, right?
That
Just
became
going
part
down
of
to
my
the Tangled
routine,
Shore.
and I'm so happy to hear that they're just making it a flat 30 shards per enhancement core, up to 5 per day. That's so cool. It's not going to take as long to hold down the X button, so it'll be a quick transaction. And it's also cheaper in the long run. So if you buy 5 enhancement cores, you're saving 150 legendary shards. So it's more cost effective, and I think that little things like that, quality of life, we're going in the right direction with that. I was happy to hear about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
what did you guys think about the changes to the sparrows? They're all going to be
They had
instantly.
to do it.
That had to
Okay,
happen.
I got to tell you, out of the whole TWAB, I think I'm most excited for that change.
Yeah.
It seems so silly.
It
I
seemed
don't-
so obvious that I thought they had already announced this. I didn't blink when they said it.
Right.
It seems
I just
so
they are
silly.
obviously going to make it an intrinsic perk because it's just
Right.
needed.
Right.
It is. It seems so silly, but it was just like one of those things where I have all these ghosts that sit in my collections that I'm not touching, even though I really like the look of them, or I just want to do something fun, but I don't pull them out because they don't have transmat preloader. And so I'm excited about this. I'm excited about being able to change which sparrow I drive around on.
I would always just look for it on my sparrow perk.
That's what I would do. In dim, I would always just see, okay, which sparrows do I have? And then, of course, I like this in combination with the changes that are coming to the ghost shells. Being able to have some customization over them. It's really good to get these sort of vanity items to have some more utility. Is a great thing, and it's going to add some depth to the fantasy of the game.
I also like the fact that you can just, if you have a sparrow with transmat preloader, you could just delete it because you can pull it out of collections, and then you can get 2 other perks for it. So that's kind of cool too.
How do you guys like the bright engrams you get? What do you get? A bright engram for Eververse every 5 levels, I think, that you level up. You get a bright engram.
I think they're fun. I enjoy getting stuff that I never was able to purchase from previous seasons or whatever.
I love it.
I like it.
I do
love
too.
It.
I get excited about it.
I love being able to get
It's like,
those.
what am I going to get, right? That's the little gift. Right. I get more excited about that, certainly, than I do at this point with the Umbrals, I get more excited about getting a bright engram. I can't wait to turn it in and see what and again, there's collection protection in there, too, because you're going to get something that you don't have, most likely, right? It's fun.
Yeah, I love the bright engrams. I miss getting one every level up.
Yeah. You get one every level up or every 5 levels?
No, in way back when you used to get
one
bright engram every time you leveled up.
Yeah.
But it used to be that you'd get one every time you leveled up, and it was current season, right? It was from the current season. Am I mistaken there? Or has it always
they
been
did
previous
seasonal
season?
bright engrams for a while, but
right.
I think they always had old stuff mixed in with the new stuff.
Right, but
there wasn't dupe protection.
Right. Yeah, so you could get the same thing. So this is fun. I like that, there's dupe protection. So every time you get one, you got a chance of getting something that you didn't pull the trigger to purchase later, or I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited about this. Absolutely.
And then the rest of the TWAB, well, the next section anyway. God, there's a lot. There's more than I remembered. Down to the wire, they're just talking about the activities that are going away when Beyond Light releases. We've already discussed what our individual pursuits are. Inventory item removal. They have a list that you can go to that lists the items, quests, and currencies that will be removed. I'm going to do a shout out to braytech.org for doing a fantastic job of creating an interface that allows you to plan your last minute Christmas shopping in terms of getting in the activities that are going away and the items, collections, and triumphs, and so forth. And also DIM has made a great effort in that respect as well to help you plan your activities. I swear, this game, what would you do if you didn't have that Destiny item manager?
Playing without Destiny item manager is a whole different experience.
Yeah, we're going to have to have a special edition Paracasual Destiny podcast that's just sharing tricks and tips for using Destiny Item Manager. I love that piece of software.
Maybe we can get one of the creators to come on the podcast.
Fat chance. I don't think so.
Hey, you never
I wouldn't know what to
styles.
say. I would be tongue-tied because those people are like gods to me. It's like talking to the gods themselves, I'd be tongue-tied. I wouldn't know what to say.
There is so much about Destiny Item Manager that I don't even use that I know is just the
tip of the iceberg,
organizing.
Right?
Yeah, I really do. Mostly just for transferring, but I also do it for I spent a long time last year creating loadouts and picking different things. So I haven't done as much of that this year.
I've been using the filter power limit : 1060 and seeing my entire vault light up.
I'm going to be doing that this weekend.
Yep, that's going to be...
Oh my God. I can't wait. It's going to be fun.
It's hard to watch, but it's also freeing in a little way.
Oh yeah. It's like cleaning out your house, It's like cleaning out a closet or something. It's just such a good feel. Or taking the trash to the transfer station.
That you haven't worn in a while.
Taking out the trash.
I just need to throw this in
and
the
it makes me want to make a dedicated effort to try every new weapon I get in Beyond Light, because I do have a problem of just rapidly switching.
You're so good at that too. You're always an inspiration to me to try out new weapons. When I see some of your clips that you upload, and it's like, oh, I never even thought of using that gun. So yeah,
it's because I'm lazy and I usually just use what's on me.
Well, you're in good company. Cami Cakes has made there's another content provider. Wow. We are naming them all today, folks. Yeah. Cami Cakes is great. He and Fallout Plays and Cool Guy. Cami Cakes and Cool Guy are really good at doing these sort of unique builds with sort of underrated weapons that are synergistic with certain exotics or armor and stuff. And certain stat rolls, and they're so much fun. I love when I see really talented gamers gaming the system in a way and figuring out these little avenues. And the thing about it is it takes practice. You can tell they practice that loadout a lot, and then they make before talking about it and making a video. Because a lot of the times they're just
5,000 watts. Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, she does that too, doesn't she?
She does a little different
the
approach.
Less loved
she'll do a
thing
randomizer on DIM.
Oh, interesting.
And she'll just have a random loadout for her weapons.
Yeah, but she's just so talented. She's pretty much going to be all of those
amazing.
guys are so talented.
I recommend checking out her YouTube of the combos she's done. Even with a double special in the Crucible.
Yeah, and something about Cool Guy and the way he talks, I feel like he's talking to me. In that, or at least, or that
she has a framed autographed picture of him in her bedroom.
Not me specifically, but like to like the casual player, just saying, "Hey, look, you may not be the most talented, but why don't you give this a try? Here are some options." He's obviously clearly out of my league in terms of his talent, but all of these guys are. It's just like watching. You watch pro sports. They're obviously playing at a much higher level than you ever would, but you enjoy watching it. So it's similar to that. 3 of the 4 people we just mentioned have their own podcast called Firing Line, which I recommend because, again, they talk about nuances of weapons beyond what I ever consider, but it's fun to listen to and hear kind of like the top echelon players talking about weapons and kind of almost like it's just such a different perspective.
Yeah, we need to check them out to see if they've done one on the latest weapon changes, the hand cannon changes and stuff. That'd be interesting.
Oh, they probably did, would be my guess.
I'm looking at the clock here and it's saying it's coffee break time. So should we take a little coffee break?
We don't have any more coffee, but I could use a break.
Some. Let's get that percolator going. It's coffee break time here at the Paracasual Destiny podcast. I hear Green Stego drinking coffee.
Yeah,
I know Romance Girl loves her coffee. Funny Bone's the only one of us who hates coffee, right?
Blasphemy.
Yeah.
Blasphemy, that's so not true. All right, I will be right back.
All right. When Sally Bug comes back, we will close out this episode with her touch of Grimoire, followed by an abbreviated sound check this week. In the meantime, do you, Green Stego and Romance Girl, do you guys have any plans this weekend for doing any Destiny-related things? We may try to get on again to finish up taking Funny Bone through Scourge of the Past. We're at the final boss, right? Do you guys have any other plans?
Planning on a hardcore Destiny session this weekend, basically. Want to get Traveler's Chosen and the rest of the Saddletoon's Eyes.
Nice. Yeah, I think I would like to finish Festival of the Lost this weekend because I know once next week hits, although our school does have Tuesday off for Election Day, that might, but that's reset, so I need to get Festival of the Lost done before then anyway. So that might be my priority this weekend. And then if we are getting together to take down Resurrection. Is it Resurrection Prime?
Insurrection
Prime. Resurrection Prime. That's interesting. Insurrection Prime. We'll take him down, and who knows? Maybe Funny Bone might get an Anarchy out of that. We never know. But I feel like we have that boss fight. We've gotten a little better at it because we grinded it, right?
Maybe. We'll see.
It always depends. We never have that 100%.
Yeah, and if you remember right, it took us a while to kind of like even get that first encounter kind of get back into a rhythm. So
right. Well, do you guys?
Shout out to Funny Bone for picking up on the mechanics very quickly.
Yeah. Do you know what it's time for, Sally Bug?
Touch of Grimoire.
The Paracasual Destiny podcast presents A Touch of Grimoire with your host, Sally Bug. Sally Bug, take it away.
So, similar to the sound check, this is going to be a bit abbreviated only because we don't have a whole lot of new information about the character that I picked this week, and that is Xivu Arath, formerly known as Zero. And we all talked about it prior to the podcast starting on how to pronounce her former name. Went around and finally made it back to probably pronounce that X in her initial manifestation as a Z, like we do in Xivu Arath. But Xivu Arath is a sister of Oryx that we took down in The Taken King. She was part of the original 3 main characters in the Books of Sorrow. So if you haven't read any of the Books of Sorrow yet, do it. It's pretty much, and I said this earlier prior to the pod, but it's like Destiny canon. This is one of the most amazing lore stories out there. So, am I by myself, or are you guys still there? Are you guys there?
We're listening.
We're here. Story time. We're listening.
You're entranced. Okay. So, yeah, her, she was part of the original 3, who were, trying to get back to, they were, on a planet called Fundament. Mm-hmm. And they were part of a different, different species called Krill, and their species was basically on the way out. Their species was doomed. They had no idea what to do, and these 3 sisters ended up like going deep down into the Fundament, came across, and this is very shortened, by the way. You can get the full take on it from the books. But they go down, they make a pact with these worm gods who say, basically, if you allow us to be like have a parasitic relationship with you, then we will give you power, and we will also give you life. Seemingly endless life, right? You know, almost immortality in a way, right? Mm-hmm. And so they, without thinking, gosh, we don't really have any other choice, and they kind of got seduced by the whole thing, and took on these worms. Akka, Ear, Zol, and Yule are the names of the worm gods.
Those sound familiar.
I don't know which one. Honestly, I don't know which worm god is which in terms of that went into each of the 3 sisters. But at any rate,
we fought Zol.
Yeah,
right, we did.
We defeated Zol.
Yeah, we defeated Zol.
Or did we?
And was Akka the one that Oryx ended up tricking and killing?
I'm not sure.
We'd have to consult the books
We'd have to consult with our lore master, Sallybug.
Our resident lore matrix.
Well, I would say that our specialist on the Books of Sorrow would have to be Chromatic.
But he's no longer with us.
That was years ago.
Okay.
Sounds like he passed on.
Time zone.
He's passed on to a different time zone, that's for sure.
Yes, he absolutely has. So, and it was his birthday yesterday. Shout out to Chromatic, and happy birthday.
Chromatic.
Shout out to Chromatic.
Chromatic. AKA
so, Pickle. The one, So the one thing that I had thought about talking about, so she's a sister of Oryx, and her title is Goddess of War. So I guess each one of those sisters kind of took on like a different title, so to speak. So she took on the title of Goddess of War, and it's kind of strange as I did a little bit of research. It's hard to tell whether she is working with Savathun, the other sister, or working like fighting against her, like that the two of them are fighting for power, like which one of them are going to take Oryx's place since we defeated Oryx. And so it's been pretty secretive, right? And we're all kind of sure at this point. I'm going to throw this spin foil hat out there. We're all pretty sure that the Hive Queen, right, is going to be Savathun. But what if it, the Witch Queen? But what if it is Xivu Arath?
What if?
I thought you said we went up against her in the Taken King.
Those are the daughters.
Oryx in Taken King.
Right. Not Xivu Arath.
So,
his daughters, not his sister. Okay.
Right. We went up against his daughters.
Right. Daughters.
Okay.
So, yeah. So it'll be.
Is there
interesting.
anything that makes you say that besides just that she's another sister?
She's another sister. She's been kind of absent from this. We've had lots of hints that Savathun is setting up something. But now all of a sudden Xivu Arath makes an appearance. Is she going to, and I know that that's part of the Great Hunt, which is our next season.
Sorry, can you clarify when she makes an appearance? I missed that.
When Xivu Arath makes an appearance?
Yeah.
She's been kind of behind the scenes. There's been a couple of like, I think we fought one of her creations in Forsaken. And then I think she was also mentioned after we did the Pit of Heresy by Eris. She's just kind of a mention, but in terms of like having a lot of lore, there's not a lot of lore about her in the Destiny 2 world. But in the Great Hunt, where that's what we're doing, is she is coming back, and we are going to be working with Osiris and the Crow to take on.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Is I missed where she was coming from Beyond Light.
Right. Yeah. So the Great Hunt is us hunting down like her, like, so she's popping up these things that I don't know are like creating are calling to the Hive, or she's maybe she is trying to create some power here, or saying, I can see what Savathun's been doing in the background, and I'm gonna kind of like fight for the same level of power. Or is she working in conjunction with? And we don't know. We don't have a whole lot of information about it. But I did want to bring it up, with like who she was, and because we are definitely going to be fighting against something that she is cooking up on different planets, with in conjunction with Osiris and the Crow. And whether Xivu Arath is whether this is something that we're just doing in the Great Hunt and we take her down and she's gone after this season, or whether she actually creates power, or like I said, whether or not this is something that she's doing in conjunction as Savathun, we have no idea, and it will be very interesting to find out in Beyond Light. It's just and the Great Hunt. So I'm excited.
The Great Hunt?
Isn't that what it's called? The Great Hunt?
I've heard the Great Hunt being referred to as like the...
That's the name of the armor. From
the hunt, which refers to the killing of Ahamkara, right?
Hunting the Ahamkara.
Hunting of Ahamkara.
Yeah.
But this is Season of the Hunt, is what we're entering.
Is it called
Just like during when Shadowkeep launched, there was Shadowkeep content on the moon, but there was also Season of Undying. Right. So now there is going to be
Beyond Light,
DLC.
and then the season's name is Season of the Hunt, not the Great Hunt.
I think they're called. It's going to be called the Empire Hunts, because that was in the calendar. Empire Hunts begin November 10th.
I think there's actually two different hunts. You also there's the
I was going
hunts.
to.
I think it's the Wrathborn hunts is actually. The Hive, the Xivu Arath.
Right. Yeah. And let's not leave out the ketchup. Hunt's ketchup. That's another one.
That's four different kinds of hunts.
Different kinds of hunts for
when I heard
us
Season
Destiny
of the Hunt, I was thinking about Aramis and her lieutenants.
Yeah, that's what I see. Like almost like a Forsaken thing.
Right, and it's a little bit confusing because if you do look at the calendar, and Sultan just brought this up, there are two different hunts. There's the Wrathborn hunts.
Oh, that's right, Wrathborn hunts.
The Empire hunts. I think the Empire hunts are the ones related to Aramis, and I think the Wrathborn hunts, which are related more to the overarching story throughout the year.
Ooh, it's getting good.
The Wrathborn hunts are related to this particular season. So, anyway, Xivu Arath is making herself known that she is going to be something that we have to contend with, and hopefully we will find out more about it in a week and a half, right?
Yep. Well, thank you, Sally Bug, for whetting my appetite. And you didn't
That's your prediction. We're going to take her down.
This was a great way to get
right away.
If you haven't been hyped already, this is a great way to get hyped without even mentioning the Deepstone Crypt, right? Without even mentioning that, I am hyped for this thread as well in the lore.
So many stories.
So many stories, but so little time. That's what it is. Thank you so much, Sally Bug, for that tidbit of lore, touch of grimoire. This week on the Destiny Soundcheck, I decided to take the launch trailer as inspiration, and those of us who've heard the launch trailer probably recognized the music that was used in it. And it's easily recognizable that there is the Paint It Black theme going on, which is appropriate for the, thematically appropriate for the trailer. And at first I was thinking, Salvatore and company did a good job on it. Maybe it was Skyloon, but when I did some digging, I found out that it was not. They did not compose this cover of Paint It Black, but rather it was a German composer and music producer named Sebastian Böhm. I think I have the pronunciation pretty close. It's Bohm, and the O has an umlaut over it, which gives it the sound. So Sebastian Böhm, who's based in Hamburg, Germany. His music has been featured in trailers and campaigns such as Star Wars Rogue One, Aladdin, Glass, Pacific Rim Uprising, Call of Duty, World War II, and many more. He also created music for brands like BMW, Audi, Porsche, and Mercedes. Really great choice, I think, to use his cover of Paint It Black. So right now, what I'd like to do is Paint It Black with the original Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones. Play a little bit of it here. So cue up the Rolling Stones, Paint It Black. This is 19. All right, so that was the Rolling Stones with Paint It Black, 1966. I will link to the YouTube video of them. What it's, typical music videos on YouTube is where people sync up a live performance with the original recording. So I will link to that. It's fun to watch that era of the Rolling Stones, Mick and company, with Brian Jones sitting yoga style playing the sitar off to the side. It's a fun visual as well.
The sitar is amazing in that one.
Yeah, very. It dates it, right? And so here
is it an electric sitar, or is it just the way they recorded it?
I don't even know if that's a sitar on the recording, to be honest with you.
I think it actually is.
Yeah, they probably,
It definitely is.
I'd have to listen a little closer, but it's mainly guitar. At least a guitar is doubling a sitar. Here's the Sebastian Berm version that was used in the launch trailer this week for Destiny 2 Beyond Light. Okay, so I will link to that as well. I recommend everybody listen to it in its entirety with headphones. Certainly, in its entirety. It has a really great crescendo, which I will not play here, but I encourage everybody to go and listen to it. What'd you guys think of the Paint It Black theme? I was
going to ask, was this specifically composed for this trailer?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Because I
noticed when you had given his the background, like he does music for
right. No, I think
forth,
Destiny approached him and asked if they could use it because it's funny. The video that I'm linking to was uploaded a year ago.
Okay.
But it says Destiny 2 soundtrack. So I think what Sebastian probably went in and changed the title to make it relevant, and for people who are searching, who are interested, can access it easier on YouTube. I hope it gives him a big boost. I hope they paid him well because what a terrific job on it. Very bombastic, huge sounding for an individual to be able to create that is pretty amazing and very much in line with Destiny 2 soundtrack material up through now. Absolutely. That's why when I first heard it, I was like, Salvatore, and they used the Stones, got permission or whatever to do a cover, a Destiny-ized version. So I was kind of surprised when I found out it was an outside composer who had already recorded this. He does a lot of other covers, I think. He recently did a cover of the Eurythmics' Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. That's floating around. I'll link to his Twitter as well for people who are interested in this sort of music and would like to hear more from Sebastian's and his work. So that wraps it up for this week's Destiny Soundcheck. Normally we close with what everybody's been consuming outside of the Destiny world, and any recommendations for media consumption from Green Stego?
I can still safely recommend Ikenfell for witchy gameplay needs.
Oh, nice.
If you're still looking for something seasonally appropriate.
Where's that available?
That is a video game that is just recently dropped on all platforms, but it's
good.
Available on Game Pass as well, if for those of us who have Xbox Game Pass.
Nice. Romance Girl? Anything?
No, I can't think of anything new. Just Destiny.
Okay. Cool.
And Animal Crossing.
Still plugging away at Animal Crossing. Awesome. Sally Bug?
Well, we haven't done as much this week, but as is our usual October tradition, we pick up on the late 60s serial called Dark Shadows.
That's a soap opera, actually.
And, is that what a serial is? Oh, anyway, it doesn't matter.
Wow.
Did we just pick up where we left off in the storyline? Sometimes we're good about writing down what episode we stopped on, and sometimes we're not. So it's a little bit of a trying to figure out where we were and what's happening.
Sure.
But
yeah,
it's
there's
very
well over 1,000
befitting
episodes, right?
They always take on those what are seeming like the very iconic horror type storylines. They have vampires and werewolves and Turn of the Screw, and what are some others that they've taken on? Definitely.
Yeah, they've done the Frankenstein.
Dr. Frankenstein story.
Sure. Yep. They do them all. They've hit them all up.
Yeah,
pretty much.
they kind of hit them all up. Oh, Phoenix, right?
Yep.
Phoenix. The Phoenix. Obviously, witches and voodoo, and it's great. It's very cheesy. We like to. Soultime found a great blog and someone who's just a really amazing writer who gives a take on what's happening in that story, as well as all the bloopers, because they filmed this live, and so there's bloopers galore. You can tell their production probably had a very limited budget, and so it's just like sometimes it's like, nope, keep rolling. The actors tripping over their lines and looking for the cues and talking over each other, and boom mics coming down in the middle of the scene, and so that's just all part of the Dark Shadows experience. So anyway, mostly that.
Oh,
go ahead.
I was going to say, you reminded us that we have been into watching The Owl House, an animated show about witches.
Nice. Seasonally appropriate.
I would recommend for seasonal animation, Over the Garden Wall.
Oh, okay.
It's a limited series, 10 episodes, amazing animation, amazing spooky storytelling.
Very spooky.
And
the Dark Shadows you can find on Amazon Prime has those. And Owl House, where can you find that? Is that on Netflix? Or
it just launched on Disney Plus.
Okay, Disney Plus. All right.
And Over the Garden Wall should be on HBO Max with the other Cartoon Network things that just got ported.
Okay.
It might still be available.
And it might still be available on Hulu.
Okay. I have a Netflix recommendation that Sally Bug and I discovered sort of just offhandedly. It's a recent Russian production, Netflix original series called To the Lake, and kind of post-apocalyptic theme to it, but with a twist, and really interesting characters, excellent cinematography, and every shot is delectable, and every character is extremely almost like intense caricature that is they're all so different. Everybody's extremely different, and so it's these characters put together sort of a la Walking Dead, that they have to their personalities. They either adapt or they don't adapt, and you can't predict who's going to do that. And really an excellent soundtrack with a lot of sort of new wave Russian stuff that I've never heard, and I highly recommend it. I'm not quite sure it's zombie apocalypse yet, Sally Bug.
A Russian tale. Yeah, we haven't quite gotten there yet.
Yeah,
they're
keeping it a mystery.
But it is definitely like you said, a la Walking Dead. It is definitely a
survival type.
A survival of a virus that has taken over humanity. So
extremely unpredictable.
Also seasonal.
Yeah.
Definitely seasonal.
What's the title of this one again?
To the lake. To the lake.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's definitely one that you kind of have to, because it's in Russian and subtitles. We do not like to do dubbing. Dubbing never seems quite.
It's not quite the same.
The same. And you have a familiarity with Russian, Sultan, so you can catch certain phrases that you, at least the common ones, like thank you. And...
Oh, svidanya.
It's very Russian. It's a great look into modern Russian culture, I think. Man, the acting top notch, wouldn't you say, Sally Bug? Really?
Oh yeah,
really.
I'm enjoying.
They've got to be the top actors.
You get invested in the characters, and the actors do a great job in portraying the characters that are intended in the storyline.
And I haven't researched it yet, but I have a suspicion it's based on a novel or a written work from someone. I haven't researched it yet, the backstory to it, but anyway, let's wrap this up. Folks, it's been an honor and a pleasure. You've been listening to the Paracasual Destiny podcast. We'd like to thank everyone who's tuned in. Funny Bone, thank you for being our anchor in the chat. Shout out to all the greats that we mentioned during this podcast. So you can look for us on Twitter. We're there, ParacasualP. The YouTube channel here is where we broadcast every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. or thereabouts. Got a little late start today. Reach out to us. We'd love to hear from anybody outside our sort of circle, our sort of little clique here.
Fire team.
Our fire team, exactly.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you. And have a blessed Halloween and a great week. Bye.
Bye, all.
Bye.